Hi, I'm Marcellus King of Marcellus King Photography. Isn't that most original business name you've ever heard? But anyway, a lot of times when I invite people to come back to the studio, since it's actually in my house, some people may be a little bit apprehensive or, is this guy trying to lure me in the basement and kill me or what? But anyway, I just want to kind of demonstrate and kind of show what type of setup we have, and then, for those who are also interested in getting into photography, just kind of show what they could do also in their basements as well. So, without further ado, let's take a look. As we walk into the studio, here's my main area here where I just, my main walking around, area, whatever. And here we have a storage closet. Pretty boring in here, except this is where I keep all the extra bags, things like that I need when I bring the lights on location. So I'll just pack them up with the bags that are located in here and head on out. And then I got like extra cords, extra umbrellas and stuff like that. Anyway, it's a pretty boring room. Let's move on. And so here on the ground we have another, this is called a strip box. And basically it's almost like the big soft box that you're about to see soon. But it's just, it throws out a lot smaller light. But it also has a grid on there to where I control the flow of light so it doesn't stray off to the sides too often. This is the typical, this is the one that I'll use when I do like a lot of body contour shots and stuff like that. And just kind of aim it down at the model. It's also a lot easier to bring on location. Here I got my various props. Got my got an extra lens, 85 millimeter, and then also my workhorse, my 70 to 200. And then we have a radio. Whenever you're shooting, you got to have some music in the background to really kind of keep the pace of what you're trying to do. So if you got like a real, mellow, shoot, real laid back, you want to kind of play some slower music, but if you got like upbeat shoot, then, play some upbeat music. So this is extremely important to have in the studio when you're working with people. I cannot stress that enough. Here we have two of my fun props here. My Star Wars Force Effects lightsabers. I originally bought this for the kids. When I bring them here in the studio and kind of shoot with them or do like outdoor shoots at night. But the adults pretty much have more fun with these than the kids do. Go figure. I guess we never grew up. I gotta admit, I'm guilty of that myself. And it's got like an extra battery here. And I got like a little mirror so that people can kind of adjust themselves before taking a shot. I'm actually going to get a bigger mirror in here pretty soon. Here we have a boom attachment, and we use this to basically put the lights maybe like in a vertical position, or if I use this sometimes for macro shots. But at this point I might start hanging stuff from the ceiling now that I got some different items to do that. It's a lot easier. So we got like a 580EX flash. You'll see this on my camera whenever I'm shooting outside of the home, especially events. Got a light meter so we can measure the light and get the shot perfect every single time the first time. And then just various storage areas where I'll store like all my color gels and clips and stuff like that, and sometimes even extra lenses. And just general tools. Oh, this is also another thing that you'll see me have if I have it on location here. This is my battery pack. And with this, we can shoot out in the middle of a field and still be able to fire off the strobes, which is pretty awesome. Here we have the camera. And this has my 24-70 lens on there right now. It's a Canon 40D, and here's also a radio transmitter. And since I was doing self-portraits earlier today, I use a remote to fire the camera remotely while it's on a timer as well. That way, when I press instead of pressing the button on the camera, I can press this and not have to worry about the camera moving any, throwing off my aim. Makes the shot a lot easier. Another area where I store extra junk that I may need. And a few of the gels and a stool. Now here, these are the workhorses. These are the Alien-B 8B800 strobes. These are 320 watts per second. And get a good view of the back here. You can see the different controls, but basically, a slider for controlling the power and controlling the modeling light. And then here we have a cord for the remote, and this leads back to a radio transmitter, radio receiver. My bad. And basically, the transmitter that you saw earlier will transmit a signal to this to tell the strobes to fire remotely. Comes in really handy. And this big old huge thing here is called a softbox. Basically, it's throws out a large, soft light, which is pretty good for unflattering, skin. It kind of helps soften that out a bit here. And let me kind of rip it up a little bit here and show you the inside. Why it produces such soft light. Here we have what's called a baffle in between the light. That diffuses the light, and then you got this outer part here that also diffuses the light. Is that a spider hanging inside my? I have no idea. No, it isn't, but that still kind of freaks me out. I'll get that out of there. So we have 3 of those lights. You have this one, then I have this one that I tend to use for a fill light, but I'll switch back and forth, between this being my main light and the other one. So all 3 of these are the same kind. And then we had a third light, which I've just recently mounted onto the ceiling, and that's basically my background light. Throws a little color onto the background. And now that it's mounted from the ceiling, I don't have to worry about models standing in a particular spot so that the background light can't be seen, nor do I have to worry about photoshopping the cords for the power out of the shot afterwards. So that's going to save me a lot of time and a lot of headache. So thank goodness for the clips. And if you guys wonder how I got this mounted to the ceiling, I went to the camera store. This is like a Manfrotto clip that you can get, and it has a mount that you can get for the studio light. So you just kind of, screw that in there and, mount the light, and you're good to go. She's pretty solid. She's not going to move, so I don't have to worry about this thing falling, unless I got termites. And here we have the background stand, or the background paper holders. So you see you got like a white paper underneath, which is rolled up, and then also you got the black background, which is rolled down. And then we also have the chains here for making it a little bit easier to roll the paper up and down. So got both of those mounted on there. At one point I might go ahead and get a third one, but I'd much rather have taller ceilings. So that's the studio. Oh, and then a reflector, which we'll use for almost like an extra light source. We'll use it to reflect the main light onto another side of a subject. So that's it. There's the King Photography studio. Well, let's take a shot. Let's go set up the camera. Well, it's already set up. So let's just hit the remote. You can hear it beeping. Let's run back into place and let us pose. There you go. Peace.